This is Minkles and Dragons.
Waiting aboard their newly acquired airship, our party takes stock of the massive shared mobile residence while they wait on news of their summons to the Citadel of Stone. A week's time has passed since you all became the owners of the Velvet Empress with the help of the Heartscale Mercenary Company, a dubious acquisition that was presented to you with little in the way of forewarning, but has seemed to more or less thankfully work out in your collective favor thus far. Taking the time to familiarize yourselves with the layout of your new chief method of transportation has been a daunting task, to say the least, and you're still not quite entirely sure of where everything is yet, but suffice to say that this vessel will most likely serve you all quite well as a future base of operations for any and all undertakings you might embark upon, with room enough to spare for housing everyone you could ever need to keep on retainer in the process. As of right now, however, between the surviving members of the crew who Roland could vouch for as new honorary members of the Heartscale Company, and the remaining mercenaries utilized in the raid on the ship that saw its ownership change hands, the vessel is barely staffed enough to stay afloat, let alone carry an imposing enough complement of hands on deck in the event of running afoul of the myriad of dangers that inhabit the wastelands of Dorota. With this problem in mind, and after a little deliberation, the call has gone forth to summon all willing parties to serve aboard the ship and bring themselves forth for the interview process. It is now early in the morning, many hours before the scheduled time potential applicants will arrive for filling out the crew's roster, when a small flying vessel, exactly the same as the one that had carried you from the Spire of Edders into the exterior docks, comes to a rest outside the main gangway of the ship, disembarking a small contingent of important-looking city guard. With much fuss and shouting, eventually the three of you are aroused from your beds and brought forth to meet with the messenger. He unfurls a scroll, because that looks more important. Heroes of Edders, you are requested at the Citadel of Stone immediately to address the Council of the High Singers at the urgent request of Grand Singer Kratnorinen himself. I ask that you board our transport and depart at once. And how would you all like to respond to this very early in the morning summons?
I put my pillow over my head and I'm like, shut the fuck up! And then I go back to sleep. I hate it! Is the sun even out? Ah!
It's been up for an hour or so.
Alexa, turn off the lights. Oh. No, don't actually. No, Alexa. Alexa, turn on the lights, please. Damn.
Okay was the best.
Okay.
I got you.
Sorry. Okay. Ignore me. But seriously, I groan and I just slowly remove the covers from my body and get up.
I'm just gonna pretend
but
no
I'm
one's
grumpy.
there. I'm just gonna keep sleeping because it ain't time to wake up yet.
It ain't time.
What about Laszlo?
As the management, I think I should field this one. I'll take it. I go outside and I peer at him and I say, "Do you need me?"
Are you wearing like pajamas or are you like?
No, I get up at 6 a.m. every morning. I don't sleep in.
All right, so you're already ready to go by this point, basically.
Yes, I've been doing paperwork and things.
Okay. Yes, we require the presence of. Then he kind of looks down at the scroll again. One Kip, one Keefe, and one Laszlo Dipple.
I am Laszlo Dipple. The other two are busy.
Yes.
Latlo's got our back.
Right.
Sorry, busy how?
Please lie.
This is a large ship, and it takes a while to get from stem to stern.
All right, fair enough. That seems reasonable. Okay. So, but how long do you think it? How long do I need to give you before we head out? Exactly.
Exactly.
Laszlo, you're muted.
Muted.
I didn't see that. I will get over the intercom and rouse them. I'll get back to you in a minute, if you'll allow me.
The guard nods.
Will the other management members come to the front of the ship, please? You are being summoned.
I pull out my Rocky Talkie from my bags and I'm like, no. Okay. And then I slowly, like a zombie, walk out of my chambers and head toward Laszlo at the front of the ship.
And Keefe, are you there as well?
5 more minutes. 5 more.
Okay, and I open the door and I say, we need 5 minutes. Is that okay?
The guard just kind of sighs and nods his head, and leans and kind of just like twiddles his thumbs.
I'll get up.
Oh,
If I have
it's no. You need to do it in real time now. Obviously, we were gonna just spend 5 minutes.
We're gonna sit here for 5 minutes. And
Yeah, as you act out getting up and out of
I'll
bed.
just start yawning repeatedly into my microphone. Be great. No.
All
I
right.
get up and I get dressed like a responsible little gnome.
Sorry, that line.
I did try. I tried to stay him.
All right, so now some time has passed, a little too much time for the comfort of the man who was sent to summon you, but eventually the three of you now stand before this guard who's kind of the herald of your escort. He kind of looks you all up and down and nods and very well. Are you all ready to depart?
I mean, I guess. I'm gonna be a grumbly asshole for the next hour until it's a reasonable hour.
I'm probably just gonna curl up and find a place to sleep for the trip over there. I have a little blanket tucked under my arm and a pillow with clear plans to continue sleeping.
And I assume Laszlo, you're chipper and ready to go.
Yes, I will be fielding any questions and handling any matters. They can sleep.
Laszlo's the only coherent one at this hour in the morning.
I look over at Keefe and whisper to her, "Don't you just hate morning people? They're spawn of the devil." I agree.
I don't even need that black coffee you talk about.
Oh my god, coffee. Keefe, before you fall back asleep, is there any way you can conjure me up some coffee? I haven't had one in years.
Kip, let me
Excellent.
Let me try and make some coffee for you.
The last one,
Cool.
the last coffee I had was about 3 years ago. You see, coffee has a weird effect on elves in that just the littlest bit really makes us perk up. Like the average human can have a cup and feel like just, good, but it's like taking heroin for us. So I just a small cup if you can would be great.
All right, I'm gonna try and conjure this small cup of coffee.
All right, you're gonna just try to conjure a small cup of coffee. Is that your plan?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a d20 at a +1. We'll see how that conjuration goes.
Is it okay that I just make that shit up, Dylan, in your world?
What?
Coffee affects elves that way?
That's fine.
Okay, good.
I mean, I'm not gonna
just improv here. I don't know.
Excuse me. Actually, I'm writing the story, and I would. You can't do that. That's fucking stupid.
Actually, I know all about elves, and elves don't drink coffee, so.
That's right. Actually, coffee has no effect on elves. They need to snort like pure dust of the moon fairy.
Oh my God! Can we please eventually discover dust of the moon fairies? Please, can we come across that? I'm writing that shit down.
Note for later.
Fairy cartel, and we're gonna have to use our airship to launder dust of the moon fairy.
Yes.
Anyway,
write this shit down, Dylan. Some good ideas.
All right, Tara, do you want to switch it over to display the rolls?
Yep, I can do that. If I know what
Keefe,
I'm doing.
give me a d20 at a +1. Pretty please. That's All right, so you hold out your hand, and you conjure. Strangely enough, like one of those little styrofoam cup things that you get from coffee dispensary machines, and it's there's a little bit of heat coming off of it, and it looks like coffee. It's a small little styrofoam cup of coffee. So you can go ahead and give that to Dara if you want. I mean, Kip.
Here you go, Kip.
Oh, thank you. Oh man. Oh. Smells great. Thanks, Keefe.
That's the first cup I've ever made.
Oh, is it? I would have never known that.
It's great. Are you gonna drink it?
I took a little tiniest sip of it, and already, you guys, or Keefe, since she's closest to me, just sees my pupils dilate like a cat, and I'm like, oh, woo! All right, we're gonna hold off on having another sip of that, but why haven't I drank this sooner?
Perfect. Also, can you just go ahead and roll me a d20 and a -5 real quick
no.
before we continue onwards?
No.
It's always terrifying when a DM goes, also, can you
at a -5. Here we go.
As you're kind of sitting there drinking this, taking a little sip of this coffee, it has the intended effect on you. You can feel the energy of coffee flowing through your veins, waking you up at the start of the day, and now unfortunately, as you're kind of sitting there doing that, your eyes have started to turn a brown shade. And now it looks like somebody kind of filled you with coffee, and everywhere you look, everything is tinted brown, like you were just living inside of a pot of coffee.
God. Okay, I'm gonna keep that information to myself. I won't tell anybody.
Okay, you're not gonna mention that you have coffee vision now?
Nope, I don't. Coffee vision. No.
I was thinking poop vision, but
poop vision.
I mean, there's similarities.
I'm going to, I'll keep it a secret. I also don't want to tell Keefe. I don't want her to worry that she ruined me.
Okay. You're hoping that the side effects are temporary?
Yeah, I very much hope it's temporary. And I'm a little bit worried, but I'm still, even though I had a bit of the coffee and I'm energetic, I'm still a little bit ugh, I don't care about anything right now. Just really wish I was sleeping.
You're like, and then you see your vision cloud over for a minute, and you process it in your brain, and you're like, Bleh.
Yeah, I'm it's not surprising. I guess there was more of a reason why I didn't drink coffee for 3 years. Just couldn't remember from all those elvish friendship brownies I've eaten.
All right. So now you guys are you're all good. You're all aboard.
All aboard.
All aboard.
Perfect.
Coffee and
Poop coffee eyes.
right.
Let's go.
Poop coffee eyes. All right.
what was the other one from last time? Fuck me.
Fuck me a
Okay.
Minkle. All
Yeah,
aboard
team
the fuck me a Minkle.
I should have had the guy announced looking for that.
Team fuck me a Minkle.
Yes.
Summons for not saying this.
Fuck me a Minkle.
Fuck me a Minkle. All right. So now on with the story. As you finally make your way aboard the flyer with your escort, the vessel takes to the skies once more, shooting high above the central point of the city, arcing all the way up to the very top of the gigantic urban center, briefly coming to a halt above the massive central structure that you can guess is the citadel itself at the very top, before lowering directly down into an opening on the roof of the sizable stone building, coming to a stop within a large open room on the top floor that appears to be a docking area of some kind for a multitude of the same small flying vessels you assume to be some sort of patrol craft for the city's sizable complement of guards. From here, you are all led to an elevator that carries you down into the center of the citadel, eventually coming to a stop at one of many passing doorways. The guard escorting you all steps off the elevator and continues directing you through the impressive sights and sounds of the Citadel of Stone. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Is that... Can we hear that? Is that coming through?
Yep.
Perfect. The guard escorting you all steps off the elevator and continues directing you through the impressive sights and sounds of the Citadel of Stone, where hundreds of singers and clerks rush about in a flurry of ceaseless bureaucratic activity. As you spend your journey soaking in the grand spectacle of such an impressive and...
Hold on, Dylan. Kaido, when we're playing this, hi, honey, but when we're playing this, just please don't put on your sound effects. Although that does remind me that I have to turn them on. Turn them off. Just interrupts everything, right? Interrupts the flow of the story. All right. Sorry.
All good.
Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
Where was I? We'll start from the beginning. The guard escorting you all steps off the elevator and continues directing you through the impressive sights and sounds of the Citadel of Stone, where hundreds of singers and clerks rush about in a flurry of ceaseless bureaucratic activity. As you spend your journey soaking in the grand spectacle of such an impressive and complicated dance that is the daily rush of surprisingly quiet work within the Citadel, you are eventually brought to a large and imposing open hallway leading to a domed chamber, with what appears to be a very large curving stone table with a host of imposing-looking important figures seated behind it, all facing the center of the room. An open space of unassuming stone illuminated by a circle of sunstone suspended from the ceiling, creating a simulated spotlight of semi-natural light focusing on the center. The guard informs you all to await summons here in the entryway and journeys forth into the imposing room ahead to inform everyone of your arrival. As he does so, could you all please give me a quick awareness check? Just go ahead and roll me an unmodified d20, all of you. Oh, wow.
What are these rolls? It's like we're not even in combat yet.
Happy's fine.
Except for Darius. Yeah.
As you guys are standing there, kind of waiting for your summons into the room, Laszlo and Keefe are kind of looking around, admiring the architecture and everything around them. And meanwhile, Kip, you're just kind of standing there with your arms folded, and you kind of look over to your right, and you're like, "Hey, that's Prue standing beside me."
Do you want me to comment on that?
Wait,
Yeah,
we didn't roll
I
high enough to recognize Prue.
You didn't notice her walk up.
I'm gonna be like, whoa, Prue! Wait, I look this way.
Aw,
Hey,
hi,
oh
guys.
my gosh, Prue's here, guys. How's it going? It's been how many? It's been like, I don't know how long it's been. Like months? It's been like months.
It's been like 6 weeks, more or less,
shit.
in the time since you guys last saw her.
It feels like it's been months. How are ya?
It does feel like it's been quite a while. I'm good. How have you all been? How did you guys get here? This is exciting.
We actually got here on a really cool flying ship that that Laszlo now owns. How about you? Have you?
Moving up in the world, I see. You know, in this way and that way. I just kind of made my way into town recently.
Huh. What brings you here?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say it's whatever's brought you here.
Oh.
Well, we still don't know what that is, and that looks really terrifying in that room, I'd say. I don't really like to be at presentations or in front of
Summoned?
people and summoned.
Yeah.
All of that kind of is out of my comfort zone.
What? You don't like the appeal of entering a dark room with a single spotlight focused on an area you're probably going to be forced to stand where a bunch of shadowy figures ask you questions?
Nope, that sounds absolutely horrendous, but we're gonna do it.
Prue, have you been in the sun lately? You're looking a little brown, like a little tan. Oh, wait, never mind.
No, well, you know, it's still pretty cold around here. I don't...
It's like rub my eyes a little bit more.
Oh, right, the coffee vision. I legitimately forgot about that.
So I was like about to ask her, and then I realized, oh right, no, everything's brown right now.
All right. Your conversation is suddenly interrupted by the reappearance of your escort, and he informs you all that you may now follow him into the room beyond. Would you all like to follow him?
Yes.
I'm gonna go last.
I would happily lead the way.
Laza?
I'm just admiring the beauty. I'll come along.
All right. With Prue accompanying you all, the imposing grandeur present in the rest of the Citadel is surprisingly less present here. This large, sparse domed room, sporting no outstanding details beyond the light, the table, and the completely filled seats surrounding it. Occupying these seats are a selection of what appeared to obviously be stone singers of varying levels of importance, their hoods raised and faces obscured in the darkness beyond the central light source. One of the figures seated centermost behind the table, the hardest to miss even in the darkness that shrouds the occupants of the entire assembly, would easily stand over 8 feet tall if upright. An obvious bearded reptilian snout protruding from its raised hood, accompanied by the unmistakable profile of wings folded flush against its back to round out the figure's imposing presence. The hooded head lifts, and a voice as worn and endless as the mountains themselves, rumbles forth to address you. Step forwards, adventurers, so that I may better take measure of your character.
I'm not gonna move at the moment.
I will scoot forward.
I'm just gonna shuffle reluctantly, like kids do when they're told to go brush their teeth or something. They're just
Oh shit.
oh, fuck.
I stand confidently where I am.
The figure silently focuses on you for an uncomfortable length of time as the room begins to feel more and more oppressive and judgmental with each passing moment. But finally, mercifully, the silence is once again broken by the sound of rustling cloth as the being at the head of the table raises a pair of clawed, scaly hands to pull back its hood, bright green eyes flashing like emerald flame in the darkness as they travel purposefully from each and every one of you in turn. I have been told by my subordinates in service to the city of Edders that you are the individuals directly responsible for destroying the creature that held the city hostage. Is this true?
Yep. Yep, it is.
Tara, your chat. Can't keep a straight face when you type shit like that.
Sorry. We have encountered lizard people. Is this a similar race?
No,
He's
what
like
you can
lizardy,
gather from
right?
this guy is that he is
Nobody
a
has a wing.
huge half dragon looking.
Oh shit, he's
creature.
more like a drake or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of looks like
'Cause he
a
has wings,
draconian or a dragonkin kind of thing.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Is dragon fear a thing? Are we all like a little bit unsettled and scared?
He'll just kind of continue onwards. Accounts vary on the description of who you are and what exactly each one of you is capable of. So I would ask myself to hear it directly from each of you about who you truly are. And as the reptilian figure says this, he extends a clawed finger towards Kip to begin its inquiry.
What did he say?
He wants to know who you are.
Oh.
Tell him about yourself.
I'm Kip. I am an elven, from the elven nomadic race. I was cast out of my community. I was supposed to be a queen and stuff, but then my family was all lame about it. We don't need to get into details. And now I'm just like roaming around, having some fun adventures and saving cities.
Without any kind of response, he just moves his claw to point at Keefe now.
I'm a gnome, clearly, and I don't like public speaking. And I'm a master of magic. I mean, not really a master, but more like an apprentice. More like, it doesn't really matter how I got my magic, but I got magic and I'm trying to help. Everything always goes exactly as planned. Always. Always exactly as planned, sir. No accidents ever happen. You can count on me for any adventuring. And I'm keeping.
And again, without much in the way of a response, his claw now points to Laszlo.
Hello, Elder One. I have a great respect for your kind. I am Laszlo Dipple, and I am the son of a very important man, a very important family. I have decided to go my own way, but I still hold them and myself in high esteem. I am someone who has proven himself capable of achieving great things. And I have a question for you. What would it take to unseat the Magistrate of Edders?
The creature sitting before you with his head now exposed from his hood is a little taken aback by this statement, and he raises a single rather furry eyebrow, and then, without answering a response to your inquiry, he moves his claw over to Prue.
Just gonna take a peek into his eyes for a minute and tilt my head a little, and I'm fascinated that you would bring us all here and ask us such personal questions without first telling us who you are, sir.
Well, as funny enough, as you all kind of finish giving an account of yourselves, it's pretty obvious now that the being sitting before you is Grand Singer Kratnornan. He is the ancient and revered founder of the Order of Stone Singers, and the first to impart the gift of stone singing and teach others how to control the moving cities, and how to shape and build structures out of the same specifically treated stone that you all see around you is constructed from. Many actually say that the Grand Stinger's lifespan dates back even further than the Great Cataclysm itself, with exact origins and the details of his personal life being that of a great mystery lost to the passing of millennia.
Well, in that case, I'm Prue. It's very nice to meet you. I'm just a traveling human-type lady, just here with my good friends. Just came to see your beautiful city, and I'm, just walking through.
Fair enough. He kind of lowers his claw and nods his head, closing his eyes briefly, and kind of returns to this imposing and impossibly old creature sitting in front of you. Basically takes another uncomfortably long moment to size you up and turn again before continuing on. I believe you all recognize this. And as you watch a carefully suspended reinforced glass container rises from beneath the floor in front of you all. And it is here that we resolve the vote everyone in the audience has been voting on so far. So make sure you get your last votes in now, and I will tell you all what happens. So those of you, I'll give you a few seconds to catch up on the vote. And meantime, I'm going to look at it real quick here. And if you guys want to if you don't see a vote thing, basically it's called Twitch Picks. You cast your vote now for what happens in this situation. It went pretty much as where I thought it would, considering the third option I give everybody.
Mistopheles, if you don't see it, I think just refresh, and if you mouse over the screen, it should like slide into view, I think, right?
Yeah, it'll be for most people, it'll be on the left-hand side of the stream. You'll need to move your mouse around a bit, but eventually a little poll will come up and give you an option to vote.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
I'm going to give us like a couple more seconds for everybody to cast their votes now to catch up with the stream delay, and eventually kind of give your votes. But the results of this vote will be resolved now, and you guys are responsible for this. This is all you. Your votes made this happen.
Oh,
I like
chat.
that.
I don't like the way, I don't like that tone. I don't. Chat, what have you done? What have you done?
Just accept it.
Accept it.
Whatever it is.
All right, cool. So there are three. This vote, there are three results this time instead of the two I've been giving. I figured I'd spice it up a little bit by having a couple of different options for people to choose from rather than just two. And it looks like we're on the so we have a 61% majority for the third vote option. So I'm gonna call it now, and we're gonna see how that plays out. And again, thank you all very much for voting. As you all look closer at the reinforced coffin, like glass display before you, you recognize the form of what appears to be the creature you slew in the depths of Edders, pieced back together and held in place with some kind of cementing adhesive. You peer closer into the glass coffin, and the creature begins to stir within it. As you watch on in horror, the figure slams its face into the glass and yells something at you all. Pork chop sandwiches! That's right. That's what you all voted for. You did this. This is you. I hope you're all proud of yourself. That was the majority of vote you guys all voted on. So there you go. That's that's what you get.
Now I'm hungry. Thanks, chat.
Yeah, right.
Thanks.
Oh, pork chop, is it with bread? Sandwiches, bread. Oh, bread.
But none of us are on fire. None of us are dead.
Yeah,
this is
thanks,
fine.
Chad.
We get pork chop sandwiches. We're great.
Oh my gosh. I just look baffled and confused and a little startled. And that's all. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna step back if I'm near it. I'm gonna step back too, cause fuck that it's alive and being held in a glass case. I don't trust
it. And what about you, Keefe? What's your reaction to this?
I'm gonna just take a couple steps back, and then I'm gonna pull a little like cracker out of my pocket and munch on something, because that made me realize that I got woken up and I skipped breakfast.
And Laszlo, what about you? What's your reaction to this?
I walk up to the coffin and I tap on the glass antagonistically, and I stare at it just for a second.
All right. The figure inside, you can tell is there's no light that you previously saw illuminating from it, and it looks like maybe the response from this thing was more of a reflex of like, firing synapses than anything else, and it doesn't respond to any of your antagonistic attempts. Anything else you want to do?
No, I like this. I like to see that it's dead.
That's fair. You're pretty sure that whatever was left inside of it is very, swiftly dwindling away, and that was a bit of a strange response, but for the most part, it's inactive and not really a threat to you anymore. And what about you, Prue? Do you have any thoughts on the matter?
Watching Laszlo wander up to tap on the glass, I'm going to turn back to the high singer and why is that here? Why is it in a glass coffin? And what is that thing exactly? I know obviously we killed it, so it's not immortal, but what is that?
The Grand Singer kind of nods his head at you, and as you all take a moment to compose yourselves from being acquainted with your fallen adversary before the Grand Singer begins to address you all again. Through complex magics and extensive rituals, we have learned much of this construct and its origins. The history told of this stone being, it seems, is one in inactivity deep within the bowels of the city of Edders for many, many generations, and we are still unclear as to the catalyst that stirred it forth into action. Much of its origins remain unclear, and even less is known of its motives. But one thing we were able to ordain from its history was a place, shrouded in ice and death, far, far to the north, deep within the roiling, chaotic snowstorms that permanently drench that area of our world in an impassable, fatal barrier that all who have dared brave have never returned from. And Cret Nornan leans forward over the table, his wings partially unfurling as he does so, and somehow adopts an even more serious tone than before. Another disturbing factor in this sparse revelation is what little presence and energy remains within this creature has a sense and horror connected to it that I have not felt in this world since the great cataclysm was visited upon us millennia ago. Narrowing his eyes, the Grand Singer positively radiates an air of grave severity at the mention of this fact, and you can all feel the same dreadful anticipation spread from every figure present at the table with the delivery of this dire news. This force, older than the stars and full of hatred for all things in existence that saw the utter devastation of Daroda and the near end of all life as we know it, suddenly and without reason, halted its unpredictable expansion across the land and faded away into obscurity. Few living to this day can grasp the true scale of the horrors of that time. So I understand if this long-forgotten abstract menace is unfamiliar to you all. But rest assured, if any trace potential of this evil has resurfaced, it is our duty to put the full force of the Citadel behind investigating it to the fullest. The Grand Singer closes his eyes briefly as if reliving a painful memory of the past, before seating himself once more before you. The reason you have all been summoned before the council today is that we wish to extend an offer of employment to you all. In exchange for your diligence, valor, and discretion, as you work with us to find and locate the point of origin for this infected stone construct you bested, we will put the full force of our order's resources and wealth behind you as much as possible out of the public eye. I'm sure you can all understand how important news of anything related to the return of such an apocalyptic force must be kept secret. This is where you guys respond.
Well, we're great at secrets, and we're great at obviously killing things like this. So, obviously, we're great candidates for the job that we are interviewing for.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot more resources and, I guess help that we've been given so far. And we're gonna get paid, which is pretty cool.
Wait,
so,
did he say we're getting paid?
I mean, maybe I should double check, but say he'd like to hire us. I'm assuming that's sir, how are we talking money as payment for this? Asking the good questions.
Yep.
The Grand Singer kind of smirks a little bit at you. The first sense of any expression other than dour seriousness you've seen on his face in the entirety of your interactions with him so far. And it immediately resumes back to his more dour mood. But he nods his head in response.
Chaos and pork chop sandwich. I'd be alright with that.
So he kind of inclines his head and looks over you all again and goes, well, are you interested?
I mean,
why not?
Yeah, we don't have anything else better to do, and I would rather take this on and fight these creatures and figure out the origins so that we can stop it, because what's the point if we don't have a world to live on? Do you know what I mean, guys? I think, yeah, let's do this. I'm down for some adventure. My heart is pounding fast. I don't know why. By the way, I've been slowly sipping in the shadows a little bit since I didn't step forward. I've been slowly sipping on that coffee. I'm down. Let's do this. Woo! What do you think, Laszlo and Prue? You guys in? Fifi said she's in. You guys in?
Would we be guinea pigs, or do you have actual faith in us? I do not want to be put out there as a test to handle this thing, only to be left alone with nothing.
The Grand Singer nods his head in acknowledgement of your fair point and addresses you. And this is an undertaking of the utmost importance. And as you are the only ones with experience besting this creature and having put forth the effort into fixing the problem, it would be foolish of us to waste such a valuable resource.
That is a fair response. Now that we have come into the acquisition of an airship, I do believe we might be equipped to handle your request.
Yeah. You get the impression the Grand Singer already knows this and kind of nods to you. And he kind of turns to Prue as kind of the last go ahead in the lineup.
Yeah. So speaking of resources, I don't know how much you know about what happened to us while we were in Edders, but we were promised a great deal of resources. And when it came time to call in those promised resources, we were literally thrown outside to die. So I'm wondering, when you are making all of these grand promises about resources and help, what exactly are you offering?
There's a reason that she's with us.
Yup.
There's a good reason that she's in our adventuring party.
We're just like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. She's like, wait a second.
Wait, guys, wait, get the receipts. Guys, wait.
He nods his head and makes a bit of a motion in the floor with his hand and says something under his breath that you can barely hear. And another part of the floor opens up and a large, imposing chest kind of rises up through the floor, and inside you can see what is probably close to 10,000 gold worth of like money inside of it.
I see.
And he just kind of raises an eyebrow at you.
Grand Singer, we require much more than money. This airship is going to take a lot of hands to operate, and we are amateurs at best. Can you guarantee a fleet or a coalition of hands to operate this ship for us?
The Grand Singer kind of looks at you a little inquisitively, and I was under the impression that your call out earlier in the week was taking care of staffing your ship, but rest assured, through our resources, we will reference more towards you. But again, this undertaking must be kept under the hat, as it were.
Maybe it's best if you want secretive operations that you provide the crew, and we cease looking for a crew.
The Grand Singer kind of nods his head and says, there are details that we have already covered in this regard. We simply need an affirmation of your voluntary association with this undertaking before I can tell you anything else.
Prue, are you satisfied?
I think a giant chest full of gold coins is probably enough to get me on board. Yeah.
It looks like we're all in agreement.
So is that it? Is that everyone's saying yes? We're all signing up for the apocalypse?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm ready to apocalypse things.
What?
I thought of something weird that I don't know if you'll let me do, but I kind of want to try it. And I
mean, shoot.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. High Singer, are you a good combatant? Grand High Singer. I'm so sorry, my liege. Are you quite the fighter? Quite an rivaled combatant in the ring? Are you strong?
He kind of raises his eyebrow.
You sure
at you.
look like it.
Where are you going with this?
Well, since we are going to be on quite the adventure and you have tasked us with quite the undertaking, I have this special weapon, if you will, familiar. Her name is Pip, and she is my trusty Pomeranian companion. Now, one of her amazing magical abilities is that she can sometimes turn into whatever she sees, and I can use her to fight as she turns into that specific creature. I would be very happy if I could please try to get her to turn into, I don't know, you? So that she can help us on this journey, you look very intimidating and terrifying, and like you look like you can kill some people. So I think it would be really, really great if we can try that right now.
The high singer seems amused. Or sorry, grand singer. Fuck, I've done it now too. The grand singer kind of flashes another look of amusement over his face again very briefly before nodding his head in the hopes that you would do so. So you want to feed Pip a treat and try to turn into the grand singer?
Yes, I really do.
Perfect. The grand singer is a very powerful magic user, centuries, millennia even old, and is one of a kind that you've never really ever seen another like him in your entire existence. So you're going to go ahead and roll me an unmodified d20, and I'm going to let you know if it... actually, you know what? Roll me a -10 on a d20. And if it turns out to be a certain number or a critical, then you've got it.
Evie, come here. Oh, no. Come here. I was going to do the call upon my, but she's walking away. All right. Roll a d20 with a -10.
With a -10 modifier.
Okay, Pip. This is a really important... I have her out, and I'm just looking at her. I pick her up, and she's like, we're face to face, very close.
Are you going to summon maybe help from another source, possibly?
How can I, like, from Keefe? Or what do you mean?
Or the Pantheon of Patrons?
Oh, the Pantheon of Patrons! Yes, I absolutely would like to summon the power of the Pantheon of Patreons for this, because this is super important.
I will also pray to them if it will help.
Is this a combo prayer, or is everyone kind of like gonna pick somebody to appeal to in the hopes of influencing this?
Call upon the PP. Yeah,
You guys are gonna call upon the PP? Is everyone calling upon the PP?
Yes. Please.
Yes.
All right. Is everyone? There's 4 patrons right now.
We don't want to use all of the PP.
This would be okay. Well, they have to be here.
Let's take it in turn.
Right?
How about we use like 1 PP, and then if it's 1 PP is not enough, then we try.
I'm only giving you
double
one.
down. Double down on the PP.
One try to do this.
I feel like this would help like a lot, right? If it worked.
It would help immensely.
Immensely. He seems pretty fucking powerful.
Let's do this a little quicker. Kit, PP?
2? Why don't we do 2?
2?
Let's do
2? Okay.
You're gonna do 2. Now, you keep in mind, you can call upon the power of the PP in other sessions. You can only do it once per patron in a session.
Oh.
But you can call upon them in future sessions.
Yeah.
Like it's like a per session
so
situation.
If we did 2 right now, we still have 2
for the remainder of the
session. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now keep in mind, these patrons that you appeal to have to give their response in chat.
So
remember
what Patreons or patrons are here? We have Zach, I think, is here. I don't think Kiri is. Fiddle, I can make Fiddle's got chat open. I can make him be in it. And Hobby is not here at the moment, correct?
Yes, so Hobby isn't available.
Okay, so Fiddle and Zach.
Kiri and G-Car are collectively make up their pantheon.
Okay.
And we don't have Hobby, as far as I know.
Zach,
so really,
are you here? Can we just get some confirmation? Sorry to call you out, but.
Sorry. Oh, mighty Lord Zach Bora, and oh, mighty Fiddlesticks Bard, are you present on this ethereal plane in order to be appealed to by our players?
Fiddle, can you get my stream up for a second? We're calling upon the power of the PP, the Pantheon of Patrons.
You can always try phoning him again.
That did not go well.
That worked so well last time.
So Fiddle, just to keep you up to date, we are trying my trusty companion here, Pip the dog, can turn into anything can try to turn it into anything. We need to know if our patrons will how do we put this? If they'll help us. We want to
Well, hashtag bless us, as it were.
All right, Pip, are you you're just going to town licking my neck here. Okay. So yes, will you bless us, our amazing, almighty, wonderful patrons?
So basically what happens is a player will appeal to their patron god, and then they will either say yes or no in chat. So we'll start off with we've confirmed Bora, Zach is here, we've confirmed Fiddle is here. Dara, why don't you go ahead? Yes, Kip, give me the appeal to whichever one of those two you wish to appeal to.
Wait, I have to say what? Like, I only get to choose one?
Yeah,
I'll
you only
do
get
the
to
other
appeal
one.
to one. Each one of you gets to appeal
okay,
to
okay.
one.
Well, I'm gonna ask Lord Zach Bora if you will allow it. If you will bless me.
Well, you gotta get out for a prayer. Kip has to offer a prayer, Dara.
Like, you mean like, oh, mighty Lord Zach Bora, if you hear this, sir, will you please help us in turning this amazing, very smart and intelligent, just licking my hand, doggo to turn into an almighty and powerful high singer, grand high, or whatever high singer. Shit,
Grand singer.
Grand singer! Yes or no?
All right, Lord Zach Bora, do you grant the
Zach
favor?
Bora real?
Do you grant your favor to Kip?
Is that real or are you trolling?
Oh, Zach!
Your prayers have gone unanswered.
Yikes.
There is no favor granted.
Kip will remember that.
In the meeting.
Wow, I should have went for my boyfriend's blessing.
Well, I mean, MWB could still. Do you want to?
MWB can appeal.
Yes,
Phil.
yes,
Are you
yes.
listening, Fiddle?
Okay. How did you know my middle name?
Oh,
I'll have you know that Marius Watram Beauregard is a secret in my family. Anyway,
what was that name again? Can you?
Marius Watram Beauregard.
Can you just do me a favor and add that to your character sheet as well?
It already is.
Okay, good.
Anyway, oh, holiest of holy fiddlestick bots, may you grant us the favor of your loins to give this dog creature the power to become a grand singer. Please.
Look at her, babe.
Please,
She's
please.
begging. She's begging.
All right. Oh, powerful Lord Fiddlestick Spot. Please type in chat if you grant your favor towards this endeavor.
How can you say no to this? Oh, yes!
Thank God you're in the same room as the patron or Pantheon member.
Excuse me, Zach. That I believe is untrue. Maybe we can get some I don't know, whatever the word is from our DM. But I do believe he was almost maybe excited about this. He was amused and allowed it right away. I think he thinks that this is awesome and he's very like flattered. Huh?
Are you trying to tell God what he's supposed to be doing?
Yes, I fucking am.
Unfortunately, gods don't work that way. So
A little
it's,
salty. I knew I should have gone to church more often. The gods are mad at me.
Well, luckily for you, as our most powerful
you're the
occupant
thing.
of the
Yeah,
of the pantheon of patrons, holding the highest spot of honor so far in our contributors, His blessing is bestowed upon this attempt to utilize Pip to create a facsimile of the Grand Singer. So I'm going to have you go ahead and roll me a d20 unmodified.
Oh, God. Okay, fingers crossed, everybody. Oh my God. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready, Pip? I'm going to feed you this treat, and I really hope you're paying attention to me right now. Are you paying attention? Why are you closing your eyes? Are you falling asleep? Pip! Okay, here we go. No!
We got great rolls coming in tonight, guys. You wait. It's a good day.
All right. So, on an unmodified roll of 20, you rolled a 2. So
I bet I would have got higher if I did -10.
So, unfortunately, you point your dog at the Grand Singer, and you shove a treat into your dog, and you point it towards this large draconian creature, and you're like, "Hope this works." And you point your dog towards it, and the dog falls asleep, and kind of just lies there in your hands, little snores.
Oh, my God.
And you're kind of like, is this thing on? But unfortunately, Pip will not awaken and is now deep in slumber.
I don't want to be alive.
I love how droopy her eyes are.
Right? Oh, you little shithead. Go to bed, I guess. Fuck. Pardon my language. That doesn't ever happen. That's so strange. It must be because you're so almighty and powerful, Grand Singer, that she just... I don't think you can be cloned because you're so great. I'm like, I have like a single tear running down my face as I'm saying this.
Single coffee-colored tear.
Yeah, brown tear.
A little bit of coffee comes out of your eye.
Oh, frick. I just slowly back into the shadows and hang my head and sip some more coffee.
So the Grand Singer looks a little amused before kind of sighing and continuing on addressing you all. Excellent. We've already begun to spread word of this undertaking under a different guise, now that you are all amenable. I can't say it correctly. It's been so long since I've spoken this word. You're all amenable to it. You are traveling under the guise of an exploration party, backed by several scientific societies within the city under our influence, seeking to finally pierce the northern storms and return with information of what lies beyond. Supplies and payment for you and your crew will be provided by the Citadel, but you are not to directly mention our involvement with this task. And under no circumstances are you to mention the true objective of this endeavor. Is that clear?
We would be foolish to out you.
Secrets are always safe with me.
I would assume that should we disclose any of that information, we're not getting to keep that giant chest of money. So
The Grand Singer nods his head in confirmation. What about you, Kip?
Yeah, I agree to it. I won't say anything. I'm
Good.
still sad.
It will take some time for word to spread and for us to delve into our archives in search of potential methods of shielding yourselves from the northern storms. So in the meantime, we ask that you return to your ship and continue your process of recruitment and refitting of your new legitimate acquisition. Is this understood?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Our business here is concluded. You may return to your ship. And with that statement, the escorting guard who brought you all here walks out of the shadows and motions for you all to follow him back to the Citadel's landing bay. And with that, bless you.
Sorry.
On that sneeze, we will call our first break of the session here. So, thank you all so far for tuning in and watching our silly adventures. We're on our little break right now, but we will resume the adventure momentarily. Right now is just our little shill period where we tell you that we have a Patreon. If somebody could exclamation mark Patreon. Thank you. This is how we're raising money for this project. We're hoping to do this full time as like a once a week kind of like full commitment with even more stuff into it. But in order to do that, we need support from viewers like you. So if you want to share our shit around and tell people to watch our stuff, or if you want to even donate like $1 to our Patreon a month, we would seriously appreciate it because it makes the difference on our review period. When on April, yes, words. In April, we'll be revisiting this whole undertaking, and if numbers are looking good in both like finances and growth, then we will continue onwards and continue telling this crazy fucking story, which, as you now are aware from this episode, is getting serious because basically it has to deal with an apocalyptic event that previously wiped out the majority of life on the planet that these people currently occupy. With a little travel time and some preparation, you are all now comfortably reacquainted with your brand new airship, prepped and ready to interview potential crew members for the journey ahead. A few of Roland's mercenaries stand guard as you all wait together, grouped behind the desk formerly occupied by the nefarious Morit Persing. Dara, if you could go ahead and... So the way we're going to do this is you guys are now interviewing potential people who will be crewing your airship. So what I want you to do is go ahead and be the person who calls next. Is that can you do that for me?
Yeah. Yep. After we interview each person?
When you interview people, or if you want them to leave and move on to the next, but basically
at any point
yes, you can. So if you want to bring somebody in for an interview, just shout next, and then somebody will come in and you guys can interview them for a position aboard your ship.
Okay. Next!
All right. So as you are all seated around this desk, which, it may have been a little difficult to fit behind together the three of you for something that was designed for one man, but he was a large man, so it's not that difficult. And as you sit behind the desk waiting, one of the mercenaries opens the door, and in saunters Dallin, looking, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and a little intoxicated, but not so much so as the start of the chapter. And he hefts his weapon over his shoulders, and he just kind of looks you all up and down and goes, "You got room on the boat for me?"
You're absolutely hired. Next!
Very, very quick. This process is very quick.
I walk up to Dallin and I pat him on his back and I'm like, "It's so good to see you, buddy. Welcome aboard the Fuck Me a Minkle."
What? You're naming the...
Aren't we calling it the
after...
Fuck Me a Minkle?
No, that was your team name. The name of the ship is the Velvet Empress.
The Velvet Empress?
Right,
Yes.
It was the Velvet Empress, but I feel like we said maybe it was a joke. Yeah, maybe it was a joke.
You called
like
your
SS
team
Fuck Me a Minkle.
Team Fuck Me a Minkle, remember?
Yeah, but do you remember the SS Fuck Me a Minkle?
Oh yeah, I guess. I mean, you can refer to it as whatever you want. It's your boat now.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But yeah.
Dallin is confused by this interaction, but like nods at you. It's like, excellent. I'll be around then, shall I?
Yes, we will talk to you later about your duties on board because everyone has to put in work, and we will actually be giving you a certain amount of alcohol that you can have in a day because you gotta keep room for the rest of us that want to drink our faces off. So can't drink it all, buddy. But we love you and welcome. It's good to see ya.
He nods in acceptance, and he's like, well, as long as nobody's asking me to put on pants, then we're fine.
Since I'm actually the owner of this ship, do I get a say?
No.
Sorry, I got carried away, Laszlo. Do you agree that our good friend, Dolan Dickbeard, would be a great worker on our...
Yes, I do, but
Okay.
I didn't want to be left out.
That's understandable. I just don't ever have this kind of power, and it was making me think of being a queen one day, and I apologize. I just really wanted to... I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to take your spot as the owner of this ship. I apologize.
It's
I will...
quite all right. Your excitement is understandable.
I just can't wait to not have to do all the dishes and the cooking and the cleaning. It's gonna be nice to have a crew, you know?
Dawn kind of like looks between the two, and he's like, am I good? Are we good? Can I go?
Yes, you're on
Yes.
the team.
I believe it's your line, Kip.
What? Oh, next!
That's exactly how Kip would respond.
100% in character.
Oh, yeah.
What was I doing
Great
again?
arrow
Right.
today.
Interviews. Next!
All right. So Dalwyn kind of like nods and saunters off to kind of wait around the ship for assignment. And as you return to the desk, there's a bit of a thud as you can hear a rather tall form kind of awkwardly making his way through the doorway. And before you stands Kodkar, the blacksmith, the Minotaur blacksmith. And he kind of looks at you all and is like, can I join?
Hello, Kodkar. It's so good to see you. You have a yes from me, but I'm going to ask the owner of this lovely ship if he agrees.
I found you in that infernal place, and you proved your worth. So I say yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm supposed to say yes.
Somebody please clip it. Please clip that.
Hold on.
Please, for the love of Christ.
Oh,
Yes.
that was amazing. It was so good.
Did it work?
No, you had it. Yeah, before it was good.
It wasn't not backwards?
It was backwards, and then you did something, and then it was right.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It was backwards at first, and then it was right. And then it was backwards again.
Oh,
Somehow.
well. Magic!
Although, wait, is it different for me? Isn't it different for me what I see?
Oh,
I
no,
think-
it is. My camera on Zoom is reversed.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct on Zoom, but it was wrong.
Oh, baby.
I was
Oh,
trying to
my
write,
goodness.
like, you know, the scorecards and ice skating. I was trying to do that.
I think it's more appropriate to your character that you would conjure like a sign that says yes, but it
Yeah.
shows up backwards.
Yeah, we are such a ragtag group of fucking Minkles. It's so good. Next!
But hold the fuck on.
Oh.
We didn't finish this dialogue. Just like, you're in, you like him? Well, fuck you, he's in, we're going next.
Also, Zach has a good question. Am I still seeing brown?
Yeah, you are.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, everything's still brown-o-vision for you.
For those of you that might have missed that in the beginning of the stream, Keefe conjured me up some coffee, and she rolled a little bit on the low side, so some things went awry, and I now see brown. Everything. I have brown coffee vision, and my eyes are fully brown right now. Nope, no drinks. High on life. High on life.
All right. Also, if you bring up your journal, Dara, you can bring up the Codcar's input in thing, and you can show everybody a picture of Codcar.
Oh yeah,
actually,
sorry, I forgot about doing that.
because his journal thing has been updated with a picture.
Oh, excellent. Codcar. There he is. There's Codcar, everybody. Take a little gander at him there. You can read his information. Oh, while Dylan says the dialogue or whatever, does DM stuff.
All right, so before we were sidetracked by hilarious signage,
You know what? I just checked the clip that TJ had, and it's the right direction on the clip. No. Oh God.
Wait, was that Junie or?
No, that's Juniper. She's a little
Okay.
awake, as you can see.
You women and your adorable dogs. Also, quickly, Jensen Horde, thank you for the follow.
Oh yeah, thank you for the follow, Jensen Horde. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks for doing that. Sexy man, meet you. All right, moving on. Laszlo, you were saying, I kind of lost track of what you were saying in response to Codcar's application.
I was impressed with your dealings with us at Edda's, so you're in.
All right, fair enough. And nobody has anything to say against him. No, you guys are all good with the blacksmith. Nobody's wondering why the chief blacksmith for 50 years of Edders has decided to join you on the ship or anything. Just like, ooh, hop on.
He's big and strong. We need big and strong.
Does he have any references?
It's just,
I know, I was gonna
I
say, I
don't
feel
know.
like this is Prue's job, the thing that I'm doing right now.
I
I was like, yeah, you're in.
Your
Let's go. This
resume
is great.
Triplicate, actually, if you could get it to me in color, that would be ideal.
Fair enough. So, but does anyone have any actual other dialogue? for him?
I will actually ask. Wait a second, Codcar. Why did you leave Edders? Weren't you a blacksmith for 50 or some odd? I think you told me sometime. I know that information for some reason. 50 years. What do you want to do on board of whatever we've decided to call this ship now?
Well, the way the magistrate and I interacted gave me a lot to think about, and I no longer feel comfortable with the people of Edders. So I believe after many years it's time to try something else.
Fair enough. Yes, we do remember that very awkward moment. I think we all remember that. Well, you're in, pal. Welcome aboard. You'll find your lodgings in the east wing of the ship. Just making shit up. Right, Laszlo?
He's nearly 9 feet tall. I think we should put him in the hold.
You know, I never thought about that. Good idea. The hole. The bottom of the hold is where you're gonna go, pal.
Technically, he's only a bit over 7 feet tall.
Well, it's not too bad.
I mean, that's still like
Still quite large.
I don't know if our room is big enough.
Well, you'll figure all that out later.
Lol.
But I believe there's a line that you have, Dara.
Next!
So as Codcar nods his head towards you, he kind of walks out of the room, and in steps Devotion. Devotion, the demonic priestess.
I'm sorry.
And joining her is her contingent of kind of misfits from Edders, the other demonkin, and she kind of nods at all of you and smiles and is kind of like and asks you if you would be amenable to having her and her fellows aboard your vessel.
100%. Hello, Miss Devotion. I am so surprised to see you here. What, Laszlo, can you please help me? Just take
I'll
over.
field the questions on this one. You're clearly taken aback.
Yeah, I drank some coffee and I feel weird. I apologize for my behavior.
I only have one qualifier. Does taking you on bring your crew with you, or is it just you?
She kind of looks at her little flock, and she kind of informs you that yes, these other demonkin will be joining her if you can bring her on board.
I will accept if they all come aboard. Yes.
I shake a little in the background, and I'm really excited about it. Obviously. Okay, and I just what do I do here? Welcome aboard, Devotion and crew. Next.
Keep your pants on.
Dolan already lost his, so I think it's time to party. Yep, Dolan.
Yep, not Dolan.
For those of you who might not know or are new to this, I have a wild crush on Devotion, the demon priestess. She is very beautiful, and we seem to have a bit of a chemistry, so I act like a complete and utter idiot around her, and I lose my train of thought and words when she's around, so that's why I'm being a bit of a goofball. Next!
Devotion kind of curtsies with her outfit towards you all, and the others bow towards you, and she wanders off with them into the ship. And after a bit of a hustle and bustle, you can hear like a bit of a kerfuffle in the hallway, and you guys are like, "The hell? What's holding up the line here?" And before anyone can kind of say anything about what's going on, in bursts Azaman, Osmo, and Dimps, the three halfling bards from the Wizards of the Coast.
Yes.
And Azaman, you could go ahead and bring up Azaman's portrait if you want.
Got it already.
I mean, they all have portraits. You could bring them up if you wanted to and try to stack them on each other.
Okay. Azaman, what was the other guy?
Osmo and Dimps.
There we go. Okay.
Osmo's about the ladies, Dimps is about the food. That's how you can differentiate them. And Azaman is about the music.
He's all about the music, man.
He's about the music. For those of you who may be joining us this session, these three halfling bards who go by the name the Wizards of the Coast, spelled with 2 Z's, they were the catalyst for making sure that the monster that the players fought beneath the city of Edders was weakened enough for them to basically take it down by playing music. They found out that music destabilized the creature that they were fighting. So these three have shown up sometime after hearing that you guys are looking to hire, essentially, for crew on the ship. And they are now here to present their pitch as employees. So Azaman wanders up, proud ahead of his fellow Wizards of the Coast. And he stands triumphantly there, and he basically goes, and I've forgotten entirely how he speaks, so I'm sorry if this differentiates from any previous archives you might have just watched if you're binge watching this several years from now. But, hello, it is I, Azaman, Dreas Solizard, the head of the Wizards of the Coast, if you do not remember me. Hello. It's so pleasure to see you all again. Could we perhaps be hired on as your house band?
A house band? Laszlo, is that in the, can we afford that?
I believe that their prior performance precludes their involvement. We need their special brand of verve for this adventure.
Yeah, I agree. We'll if we're ever feeling down, like this will get up some team spirit and And yeah, you know what? I think so. That sounds like a great idea. Azaman, Osmo, and Dimps, welcome to the team. You are officially hired.
And they kind of like, they're like, all like, yeah, fucking high-fiving and shit. It's super adorable and really tiny. So they kind of, they compose themselves and look up at you again, and they all kind of like nod and shuffle out as adorably as 3 halfling wizards wearing wizard outfits do.
These
Did there happen to be any contentious appliques?
Well, I mean, it's considering we've only gotten through the ones that I figured we should probably get through. It's not like the rest of this adventure is just going to be improvising people walking through the door and you having conversations with them or anything.
Next!
So as the Wizards of the Coast shuffle forwards, you can kind of hear another applicant kind of wandering in, and as you look towards the door, you can see a rather shaggy-looking orcish fellow. Looks to be about a half-orc. You don't see many of them around this part of the world because orcs and half-orcs are generally only either laborers or fighting amongst themselves very far to the east of the continent in areas that are unexplored. But this one, he seems pretty straightforward. He kind of eyes you all up and down, and he's got a very, very no nonsense demeanor. And he just kind of looks at you all for a bit, and he snorts to himself, and he goes, "Name's Duff."
Duff?
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 Duff.
Deaf? Daff?
Duff.
Duff. Like
Duff.
D. Can you spell it for me?
D. Off. Duff.
Oh, orcs. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Welcome, Duff. Do you have any skills that you might want to let us know about? What experience? Yeah, what makes you want to work here?
He kind of mulls that over a little bit, and then he gets an idea, and he walks over, and one of the guards who's on duty, he just kind of knocks him out with a straight punch to the face, sending him sprawling. And as he kind of like sprawls onto the ground, he kind of looks up and he goes, "Hit good."
What work? Sorry.
We pay for that guard. That's not just free to punch him. He's probably going to need money for that.
You know,
That was a really good
I
punch.
was just about to say. I look over at Laszlo and just raise my eyebrows. I was like, so?
I don't know about that punch. Is that quite enough? Give me another example.
Wait, don't.
And as you're trying to get him to stop, he starts walking towards the other guard, who is now like desperately like fumbling with his sword.
Oh,
Like, fuck,
God,
fuck.
Derek,
Laszlo!
run!
Laszlo, what have you
Derek!
done? Derek, run. We get it, I think. Laszlo, I think he's good. He can hit stuff. Good.
We'll put him in the front lines.
All right, Duff, you are hired. Next.
And he kind of like gives you like a smack on his chest, like, and walks out.
Okay.
And as you guys are kind of sitting there, there's another like bit of a scuffle at the door, and then all of a sudden this kind of like strange looking creature that's you kind of get the impression that it's like a little bit of what would be the closest thing I could compare it to? I suppose a goblin. It's basically a goblin, more or less. We'll just say it's a goblin, but he's got grease paint on, and he's wearing a little striped black and white shirt and some like torn pants. So he's got his little grease paint face, and he walks in, and he just kind of like goes and doesn't say anything.
Are you some kind of mime?
And he points at Laszlo and nods his head, and then starts kind of like pulling an invisible rope and like nodding at you guys.
Can you do more than mime a punch?
And he stops and thinks for a second, and then he holds up his finger, and he puts his finger out like this, and then he like.
I let out a laugh, and I'm like, oh, very.
Do we have a
impressive.
place for a court jester?
I think maybe he might need some help. I think we should just take him for that. I think
Isn't this supposed to be a secret mission? Why do we need a mime?
I don't know, entertainment. That
We
seems
have
legit.
a band.
We have a band.
I'm with Prue. I'm not convinced of his qualifications.
But sometimes a band is a little loud. Sometimes you just need something, more
Oh,
silent.
hold on. Sir Mime,
Survive.
if you could, I don't know if you can step out of character. Are you able to talk? Do you have a voice? No. Okay. So there's nothing else you can do. You would want to be the court mime jester.
Will you swab the poop deck?
Oh, done. Hired. Laszlo?
Yes, we have sore need of cleaning the poop deck.
And he'll never complain about it because he's a mime.
Oh my gosh. Brilliant, Keefe. I say hired. All in favor?
You mime complain?
Can you?
All right, I think you're hired.
Oh, all in favor? Yes. Yes. Prue,
Come on,
Prue.
Swab the poop deck.
Fine, but I'm just telling you now, you're gonna wake up and some of that poop from the poop deck is gonna be on your pillow one morning. I'm just saying, it's gonna happen.
Well, I'm in. Guess what, Sir Mime? Are you able to mime your name? Can we guess what your name is, or? Okay. 2 words. Oh, I love this. I love this game. What first word? Bird?
Fly?
Butterfly?
Fly?
A
Flutter?
dove?
Freedom.
Wings?
Dove? No. Dove? Freedom. Wings. Okay. Second word. Wings. Wings
Crab.
spider? Wings spider.
Goody? Scooty? Crawl?
Wave.
Wings flutter.
Sugar cookies?
Is it a jackal?
Is it pork sandwiches?
Oh my god, is it
Shark
pork chop
scuttle.
sandwiches?
Prancing. Hopping. Hopping?
Prance?
No. But
Hop.
prance. Can't remember the first word.
Hopping?
Hopper.
What was the
Hop.
first word you
Prance.
said?
Prance. That's it?
Your name is
Wings?
Wing Prance?
Yeah, we have to hire him. He's a meme.
All right. Wing Prance. You are hired. Next.
And as you wave off your new goblin mime, he kind of mimes like rowing a boat and waving to you guys, leaving the room. And there's a bit of a pause as you kind of wait for more. Amateur airship owner hour, yeah. You kind of wait a little bit, and there's kind of a noise that sounds like a slithering almost. And as you guys are kind of like wondering what the noise is, there's like a shadowy figure just kind of like leans over one of your shoulders as you guys are sitting at the desk, and lets loose a small like pile of gems, and kind of like scoops around to the front, and you can't really make out what this thing's like race is. It's vaguely humanoid. It's very covered in like, I would say like shadowy, like dark clothing. Looks very much like something you would hire to kill a man, basically. And it says nothing. It just drops like this bag of gems on your desk and kind of sits there eyeing each of you.
Hello. What is this?
Presents?
It reaches into its. You're almost kind of like a little on edge as it reaches into its robes, and it pulls out a little thing to read, basically like a note. It puts it down on the table and kind of steps back.
I'll let Laszlo pick up the note.
What kind of creature are you? Can you say? Can you talk?
It just looks at you. It doesn't say anything. It's just kind of like motioning to the note.
The note says, take the money and hire me.
No, that's not what the note says. You have to do that. But close.
Oh my god.
Take the money.
This handwriting is very hard to read.
It is actually very hard to read. It's a scratchy kind of dialect that you can barely make out, as if somebody who is used to writing a different kind of language decides to write you something else. Or write you in your language, and it's like kind of trying to make the gap connection, right? So the font is hard to understand, but from the gist of it, you can basically see that it says on the note, I'm watching your progress with great interest. Here is some support to ensure that what you do is done correctly, and if you so choose it, my assistant here is happy to help you with any problems you may have in turn. And it's signed, like you can't even really make out the name.
I'm gonna step around the desk and get in close to this, whatever this thing is. I'm gonna.
As you get closer to it, it keeps like a personal bubble space distance away from you.
What? No, come back. Come here. Come back. Stop.
It's just going to keep back. It's going to keep backing up as you go towards it.
Come here. If you want to stay, you come here right now.
As you kind of push it into a corner, it walks up sideways the wall and like walks onto the ceiling.
You know what?
Holy
I don't want
gods! This thing just walked on the ceiling.
Whoa.
I like him.
What the heck? I'm in.
I feel like we'd be in danger for saying no.
I feel like there's a good chance we're in danger if we say yes.
But more of a chance of danger if we say no. Maybe.
Ultimately, do you want the guy that can walk up a wall on your side or not on your side?
I don't know that he's on our side.
He brought a bag of gems. I mean...
No, he brought a bag of gems from someone else. And we don't know who.
So he's good at stealing, because that will help with our always very good moral compasses about stealing. I think we'll feel better if somebody does the stealing for us.
I don't even know that he stole them. I think he's somebody's agent and he brought them here at their behest.
I like him.
Well,
this is
mysterious. If you promise to feed him, you can have him.
I'll feed him real
and walk
good.
him?
I don't think I can walk on the walls yet, but I will try.
You can always conjure your magic rope and
yeah,
use it as a leash.
You know what? If he's any trouble, I'm sure that I can accidentally light him on fire. I'm sure.
I believe that. I do.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
As that conversation is going on, his head turns like
we need.
Around to look at Keefe as she says that, like an owl, basically.
Got you.
So creepy. I'm like, ugh, shivering.
That's gonna be a no from me, dog.
Can we see, is its assistant visible? Can we see its assistant right now?
That is the assistant of whoever gave you the note.
Oh, the note is from the. Okay, gotcha. Sorry,
the note is from someone else.
That
gotcha. Bag of gems and the assistant are.
I gotcha. Okay, now it makes sense.
Assistant man, are you? Do you know magic?
And it just kind of sits there staring at you.
Nod your head yes or no.
Blink twice for magic.
It processes this information for a second and then just blinks once.
I don't like him.
Can you understand anything we're saying? Blink twice for yes.
And really
Once for
awkwardly,
no.
with its head turned around, it nods its head towards you.
Well, I'm sitting out of this one. It's up to.
Can we just take the money?
I think part of that note indicates the money is ours to keep, and if we want whatever this thing is, we're also welcome to it.
Are you going to hurt us?
It doesn't, there's no blinks. It just sits there staring at you.
Keefe, I know you're a trusting person, but do you think if somebody wanted to hurt us, they would let us know before? Like, yep, I do. Yeah. I am going to hurt you.
I can confirm that I have ill intent, yes.
I just look over at Keefe and pat her on the head, and I'm like, oh, Keefe.
I'm gonna figure
you
this
sweet summer child. She is determined to figure him out. All right, well, I don't know. I'm pretty torn on this one. I'm sitting out of this one.
I have a request. It might backfire, but
nothing ever backfires for us.
Can you perform some kind of aura check on this creature to see if it has evil intent? Maybe that would give us a final say.
Oh, and can't Keefe try to do a detect like magic around it?
Yes, that's what I want Keefe to detect if it has evil intent.
Yeah, we're gonna. I can certainly try that, Laszlo.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a roll. Get unmodified. Just roll me a d20 and we'll see.
Hey, that's not as bad as normal. That's not a 2 like my last roll.
Not bad at all.
Nice. That's a 16. That's a pretty good result. You can tell that this thing has a strange aura of it that almost seems related to an undead construct, more or less. It's not really alive, but it doesn't seem to want to hurt you. You don't get any hostile intent from it, but nor do you feel that it has a soul or really a heart, or it's not breathing. You kind of notice as well.
Well, listen, if he's undead, then if he happens to take a blow for us in battle, that's a use for him, and he won't die.
That's right. You could probably take as many blowjobs as you need.
No.
Oh my god.
I meant takes like a hit in battle from someone else, like a human shield. An undead human shield is what I mean. Sounds like great.
I mean, he's still just sitting up there with his head turned around, staring at you guys as you deliberate, but probably.
I say we just keep an eye on him, but since there was no evil intent, we'll take the money and we'll find a use for you.
The thing nods its head towards you and rights its face and drops from the ceiling and lands in kind of like an awkward, like its arms and its legs are on the wrong side kind of thing, and then it gets up and just walks out the door.
That was something. Next!
and as you guys are kind of sitting there pondering the random gifted creature that has been given to you, a group of like what is very obviously important looking guards from the city center wearing like dock worker clothing basically walk in, and you can tell that the guy who literally just summoned you to the place, the Citadel, is leading them, and he's like, he puts on a really shit terrible accent and is basically like, yes, we're just normal dock workers looking for a job on your boat. And he winks at you.
They seem legit. I immediately trust them.
Wait, all these other times you were skeptical and you just fold like a chair?
She is really certain that she's down.
You know, I don't trust him.
Really,
Yeah.
Keefy? Why?
Cause that accent. It just sounds like something's off.
He kind of like walks up way closer to you guys. I don't know what you're talking about. This is my home accent. Jesus Christ, just let us on your boat. We're here to help.
We're not accustomed to taking stowaways. You have to prove your worth.
Mm-hmm. What kind of
I
skill
say,
set do you
I
have?
say, we throw them in the brig temporarily, and when they prove their worth, they can be let out.
Aslo, that's a little harsh.
We
I
have to-
like it.
We have to protect ourselves.
Agreed. We can't just trust every single person. We need to know that.
For
You know, guys?
We took that head swivelly owl assassin monster, but gentleman with a fucking accent.
the guard is kind of like ha 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 ha, and then he like leans in real close to Laszlo, and he's like, "Look here, Carrot Dick. We are the only reason there hasn't been any legal action taken about any one of you taking over this boat. We're here to help on the order of the Grand Singer. This is just a formality. We're going to take up some positions here, and we're here to help. Got it?"
Carrot.
Sounds legit to me. What about you, Carrot Dick?
I'll have you not call me that. It's a front to my beat dick.
Oh God.
Oh, God.
I guess we have no choice if they come from the Grand Singer.
And he kind of like, he leans over to yell out the doorway so that people hear while like shaking your hand. Thank you very much. We will do all we can on board the ship. Yes, thank you. And he just kind of walks off with the rest of his deck hands, and they go get themselves kind of asserted into the crew.
I am still laughing. When I calm myself down, I yell out, "Next."
Just wasn't expecting that.
I know you weren't, but I did it.
So as you guys are kind of, you know, sitting there going through the interviews with people, eventually you kind of make your way through a couple of more candidates for the day. Some random deckhands that you're just kind of like, these people seem pretty unassuming, but we need people to work and, you know, like be bodies. So you go through the process of rejecting and allowing a couple of more people on the ship. And eventually, as the day kind of gets closer and closer to the end, you're kind of like, is there anybody left? Is anybody coming in? And as you're all sitting there, Siphius walks through the door.
Well, Well.
He kind of looks over all of you and is like, I have learned a few things in the time we've been apart, and I'm not entirely sure I'm in agreement with what I've learned, but I know this is important. What you are all doing is important, and it's been given the information has been passed along to me as to what is being done here, and I would like to join you all in ensuring that it is done correctly.
So
as long as you don't vomit on us, I do believe you proved yourself.
I mean, but we always have the mime to clean it up now.
That's true.
Eh?
Siphius, real question, how have you been? Are you doing okay?
He kind of mulls that question over in his mind a little bit. There have been things that I have been told of and things I have witnessed in the time we've been apart that make sense to the progression of how things have occurred within my organization. I'm coming to terms with it. Perhaps I will speak more of it later, but for now, suffice to say that things are good.
Okay, because, yeah, I think I speak for all of us when I say we have many questions. If you have those answers.
He kind of looks to the guards who are on duty and sort of motions as like a could we be alone sort of thing.
Sorry, what was that last thing you said? Emotions.
He basically wants the guards to leave. Like,
Oh, okay.
He wants to tell the guards to leave so that you can talk to them.
Okay.
Derek, get out.
Hey, Mr. Guard, please leave.
Derek, get out.
Derek.
Derek, can you?
I mean,
Derek,
the
can you
other
fuck
one-
off for a second?
Has the other one recovered from being punched?
Yeah, how's that other guy doing?
He's okay. He's up now after the orc kind of half orc laid him out, and he's a little woozy. He's kind of standing there. You think he might be concussed, so he'd really appreciate being sent off for the day. So I'm sure, asking Derek and the other guy to leave would be fine.
All right, Derek and Clarence, you are free for the day. Do what you will. Do what you will with your day.
And they like both nod
Come
at
back
you.
tomorrow.
And as they're leaving, Derek kind of like props Clarence up a bit, like puts his arm around his shoulder as he tries not to like pass out and fall on the ground. And the door is closed behind you guys, and Siphius walks up to the desk very close to you all, and kind of stands there and ask what you need to.
First off, it's been nearly 2 months since we were at Edda's with you, and I must say, after hearing the Grand Singer talk about this malevolent force, do you know anything about that? Because I feel like that is the most dire question.
And Siphius kind of adjusts himself before kind of continuing on with you guys. Hold on, sorry, the music, I'm not sure is right. Is that loud enough? Can you guys hear that okay?
I can hear it.
Okay, perfect. So Siphius kind of looks a little stressed, as if he's kind of reliving some unfortunate information. And he looks up at you all and says, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you and what I'm not supposed to tell you, but honestly, I'm so at odds in this situation that I feel it's only fair to tell you everything that I know. The thing that we're dealing with, the thing that was below the city, is most assuredly associated with everything that has happened to our planet many, many years ago. Sorry, our lands. They're not calling it a planet. The cataclysm that rolled through Dorota millennia in the past, that wiped so much life from this world, it is in danger of returning through the revelation of this, and we know very little in terms of the specifics about it. But
I'm so sorry.
What was that?
I'm sorry.
Was that the dog? What was that noise?
That was Evie.
Because I have my earbuds in, I just heard this really like.
She was growling at the mention of the ultimate evil.
Yeah.
That happened in
Pip
the
is-
game.
yeah,
Like
Pip
Pip
was
was
like,
like "Grr," at the mention of this.
Oh gosh.
It's
Sorry,
okay, dog. It's okay.
Okay, Pip. No, I know it's hard to hear. I know you hate evil things. If only you could transform a little better to fight them, you know? Just anyway. Go
Yeah.
on.
As I was the one in training to replace High Singer Delanom in service to Edders, I thought that perhaps my return to the Citadel would see me assigned to that process. But as things have come about, Delanom isn't dead.
What?
What? He was definitely dead. He was most certainly dead when we left.
He was stabbed so many times.
And did you hear that maniacal laughter? He had to have been dead.
I spoke out of turn. It's not that he wasn't dead then, it's that he now lives currently. And
sorry.
no, sorry, what were you going to say?
How? Through some dark magics? What? How is he alive?
Well, it would appear that a good chunk of the reason why longevity is so blessed to the High Singers who follow in the Grand Singer's wake is that the Grand Singer has been using outlawed blood magic to apply his own immortal blood to his followers.
How could we have forgotten about the book and that he was using dark magic? Interesting. Go on.
I have been in many talks with the members of my order, and they have assured me that this method of use is strictly for the preservation of our proud organization and to ensure that the right people stay in the right positions in order to help safeguard the future of the cities. However, I am still not so convinced that anything noble can come of the use of such dark and horrific things. So I'm at odds, and that is more in part as to why I have rejoined you here and volunteered to take on this excursion with you. I'm currently wrestling with the fact that things as I knew them were not quite as they seemed.
Saying that the Grand Singer for however many generations have been reviving the various other singers if they died? Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, the singers, the entire council of Grand Singers has been utilizing the blood of the Grand Singer to survive eons past how long they should, and thus ensuring the continuation of their dominance over the roles for centuries until eventually, for whatever reason, one of them perhaps passes and is unable to be recovered, or the process no longer is applicable, but apparently Delanom has been revived before, and I don't know how to feel.
Have you left the order?
No, I informed my superiors that I was on my way here to offer myself as an insurance to make sure that things go smoothly, but in actuality, I'm here to take some time away from my duties as the apprentice of Delanom. I don't know how to address him at the moment.
Interesting.
Does that mean he's not the way you remember him?
Siphius kind of takes some time to ponder this a little bit, and he looks over at the wall for a little while, and sort of twiddles his thumbs. Well, no, he seems to be the same, and everything on the surface seems to be as it is and as it always has been. That there's no overt reason why this seems to be an issue, but I have been told for years, and as a practitioner of magic, I am one of the few who know of this ancient and outlawed practice. There are two practices that are very frowned upon in our society. One of those is blood magic, and the other, of course, is necromancy. Anything associated with the undead or associated with taking control or using the base components of another through their blood and making use of it through unholy means, well, it's not permitted. And to hear that everyone I've ever looked up to has been dabbling in it is a bit of a hard pill to swallow.
And it doesn't interest you to also have access to that power for some reason?
You get the impression that Siphius is very much so a goody-goody. He's always done things by the book and tried to right by everyone around him in his process. Like he thought it was. He didn't think that the top was going to be what it is. He's kind of disillusioned with what has been his life goal for his entire existence, more or less, which was to join the ranks of the High Singers.
Can I get some clarification or like a refresher? What it was Elias that killed the High Stone Delanom, right?
Yeah, in episode 1 of chapter 2, which we are on, Elias killed High Singer Delanom and ran off with the book that basically detailed a lot of information regards to blood magic and all the other secrets, more or less.
Okay. So I will say to Siphius, I know that during those moments back in whatever, his office, were we in his office? In Delanom's office might be a little bit hard for you to remember, but you do recall that one who we thought we could trust, Elias, murdered Delanom and took that book that seems to have some very powerful and dark magics in it. You recall this, right?
Yes, I remember the elf who took the book. I remember that whole day. It was an ugly day. Why do you bring it up? I thought he killed himself.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just one. Oh, right. Are we sure that he killed himself?
I mean,
I know he set himself aflame, but he dabbles in the dark magics. Could he? He thought Delanom was dead. Apparently,
I've lit
not.
myself on fire plenty of times. He's probably still alive.
Yeah, I wonder what Delanom thinks of this, and
it is a possibility that Elias is still alive somewhere and has access to this book that I. When Delanom found out that the tome was missing, he was rather put off, as one would be when you basically hear that your secret book of dark knowledge was stolen. But if he is still alive, perhaps there will be an opportunity in the future to retrieve it. But going forwards, our priority. TJ. y'all talking shit?
Oh yeah, we are. Okay.
Perhaps that may present itself as an opportunity in the future, but for now, we need to put all of our efforts into ensuring we can find the right knowledge to allow us to pass the killer snowstorms in the north and hopefully locate this origin point of the creature that was killed below the city.
I dare say at this point, we should consider all things possible and just be on our guard.
Yeah, and I don't know, I can't speak for everybody here, but Siphius, you always have a place in my heart, and you are very welcome on board here. Does everybody else agree?
I'm gonna walk over to Siphius and tap his shin and offer him my my gnome water once more, as I always do to our dear Siphius.
And he like
look up at him.
He looks down at you and just gives you like the double thumbs.
That's
like the thanks.
Yeah, that's a big yes from me.
And what about you, Prue? How do you feel about Siphius?
I feel like it's unlikely that we're going to run into any stone for quite some time, which means we'll likely be able to keep you clean, which is a plus in my book. So I think you're more than welcome.
And we always got the mime.
We do. We now, for some reason, have a mime.
Siphius looks confused at this. You have a mime?
Sure do, Siphius. And a band. You might remember the Wizards of the Coast. That's the Wizards of the Coast. They're also on here, so just like the good old times, plus a mime, we're ready to party.
Ah, yeah, I see.
Basically, the old gang is back together.
Plus a couple new interesting people, including a mime. And this weird, snaky, lizardy, I don't even know, owl thing. But don't worry about that.
Siphius kind of confusedly looks invertedly a bit and then kind of goes, I appreciate your acceptance of my aid, and I will do my best in the search of information to better progress this undertaking. And he kind of like nods curtly to you all and goes to leave the room.
We don't have any more people, right?
I mean, you could yell next and see what happens.
I take a deep breath. Look at everyone. I'm getting a little bit tired at this point. I've finished my coffee long ago. Wipe my eyes.
Would you like some more coffee, Kip?
Oh, you know, I think I might take a little break from coffee for a year or two.
Oh, okay.
I don't feel so great. Ask me tomorrow, though. Things change.
Okay, got you.
Next. Oh, God, my headache.
As you all look towards the door and wait for the next person to come in, eventually there's like a long pause and somebody kind of walks up to the door and then they open it and it's just one of the guards. And he leans in and he goes, nobody left, ma'am.
Oh, thank goodness. I am exhausted. Well, guys, I think we've got ourselves a really strong team here. And I actually am laughing as I say that, thinking about all the characters that we were introduced to today. But I
think nothing could go wrong.
I would have to agree with you. have to.
It's fair enough. And with that, we reach the end of our session.